But, Rob, let's start here. And obviously, it's a lot of Tom Brady today. He officially retired from the NFL, 22 seasons, 7 Super Bowls, basically all the passing records for his career, and thought of by many, including myself, as the GOAT. But you wrote a column in Deadspin yesterday, it appeared.
Yep.
Saying, here's the title of it, and I'm just going to let you go ahead and kind of summarize it for our listeners. The title is "Don't Forget Cheater When You Recite Tom Brady's Resume."
And basically, will be interesting to hear. We just heard from Randy Mueller, who was in Miami and had to, play against Tom Brady in the same division, the Dolphins and the Patriots, right? So he has he saw it firsthand. And my issue isn't that if you want to talk about Tom Brady and Chris, you want to talk about his passing records and his 7 Super Bowls, my biggest thing in writing that column was, don't forget the part where he got suspended for 4 games for cheating. Don't forget Spygate, where they knew the other team's defensive signals, which can help a quarterback when you know what they're playing. Right. And what.
Do you think he knew? And obviously, he still could have benefited from it.
Yeah,
I don't think the players knew about Spygate. You know what I mean? I think the coaches were doing it and helped them prepare the players, so they benefit from it.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? I don't think they all knew.
I don't know directly, but but I know that, and I brought it up. You can say whatever you want. Eric Mangini was on that staff, Chris, and to me, that's the biggest indictment.
That's a fact. Nobody says. Right. I mean, that's known. That's not like alleged. Oh, did they cheat? You know what I mean? But they did. Spygate.
They did. And I guess my question, and whether or not it matters to people, and do you hold, and the thing that you can't poo-poo is that Brady got caught and was suspended, and Brady didn't. And Chris, to this day, and I want you to answer this for me. If this whole thing took place, and they said to Tom Brady, Tom, did you know what was going on with the footballs? And Tom said, you know what? That's on me. That's my bad. I asked the ball boys to take some air out of the ball, didn't realize it was under specifications, and that's on me. I guarantee you, Chris, he wouldn't have been suspended. But instead, he tried to cover it up. He destroyed his phone, and they traced 100 text messages between him and the guy whose nickname was the Deflator. So I think that's seriously, that's like you can't even make that up, right? His nickname is the Deflator.
Right.
And I think Brady hurt himself there in a suspension that he shouldn't have had to take, but because he was so hell-bent on covering up what had happened, you wind up, what I always say, Chris, sometimes the cover-up is worse than the crime.
Right.
Worse than the crime. So I think that you can't tell the Tom Brady story without saying, I hope it was all above board, and I hope Tom didn't have any benefits, and I hope, it was all on the up and up. But there's this much in the back of your brain that says, I don't know. Are we going to get a book that's going to unravel all of this stuff? And you'll realize what cheating went on and what benefits it had, and no wonder they won so many Super Bowls. Is that book coming? And how would that change your mind about Tom Brady and the Patriots?
Well, if you find out that Belichick was doing major league cheating in every year essentially that they played, sure. And whether Brady knew about it or not, my thing, Rob, I think Spygate, I don't think the players knew. So I don't think they would have been privy to that. I think Belichick and the staff were doing it, and they helped them prepare. So I don't hold Brady responsible for that. Did it help him? It probably. But Deflategate, deflating footballs, I can see a benefit, because if you catch it, it's easier to catch it when it's softer, and it's easier to handle it, and it can cut down on fumbles too.
Right, I think, Rob G, if you can look that up, check their fumbles that year. I think they led the league, Chris, with the least amount of fumbles. But
I compare that to a Gaylord Perry putting Vaseline on his helmet, or Phil Negro with, sandpaper in his back pocket. it doesn't sully those guys' legacies, and this doesn't sully Tom Brady's legacy to me. I don't think it's a huge deal. And obviously, and you always say this about, say, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they were great before they took the steroids. First of all, we don't know necessarily when they started doing it, but they were great. We all think before they start taking it that they were Hall of Famers anyway. And Brady has proven, obviously, time and time again, after Deflategate, when obviously the balls would have been deflated within the, the law, the rules, that he was great and would win and could win. So that's how I look at that. I don't think these things are big enough to sully in the least bit his career and his accomplishments.
Here's why I disagree with you. When we talk about the GOAT, and we talk about this all the time, we nitpick about everything. And if you find out that Joe Montana was above board and didn't do any of that, he won 4 Super Bowls, he never lost. Brady won 3 more. Brady lost, 3? And you start to look at it. I think when you start to nitpick, one guy was clean and wasn't involved in any of that, and Tom Brady's team was. And that's where the nitpicking, when you're talking about somebody being the greatest who ever did it. Lance Armstrong won how many Tour de France's, right? Ain't nobody going, well, maybe he wasn't on the juice for that one, but he was on this one. No, he's soiled. He's like, people aren't going to ever look at him as the greatest.
Much higher level.
But cheating is cheating.
At least what we know.
Right. If you rob a bank for $100,000, Chris, or you take $5 out of your grandmother's purse, are you a thief?
Yeah, but those are different still.
You're still a thief.
It's wrong. Both of them are wrong, but taking $5 from your grandma's purse or anybody's purse is not the same. It really isn't. I mean, there's degrees. A lot of things are wrong, but there are always degrees of wrong. Every little minor thing you do wrong isn't the same as some of the major things people do wrong. So, you're right. Cheating is cheating and all of it's wrong. But there are levels to everything. I mean, that's our whole criminal justice system is set up on that.
Rob G, I want you to jump in. As a guy who's a Raiders fan, obviously Brady, the tuck rule hurt you, hurt your franchise, whatever.
Oh, it cut me deep.
Cut you deep,
yep.
Right. Where are you just on the cheating thing and the Patriots and Tom Brady? I'm just curious because I want to hear as many callers as we can. Will they hold us against Brady or no?
Yeah, callers are calling in for trash talk. That's it.
Oh, that's right.
Well, let me just say this.
Yes.
I think that Tom Brady, he's very accomplished. He's got a lot of Super Bowls and well-deserved. But to your point, Rob, I don't like that people just omit this part of his story. And as soon as, because when the news broke over the weekend that he was retiring, and somebody shared, I think it was Field Yates from ESPN, said, hey, 25,000 passing yards, whatever touchdowns, and 7 Super Bowls, and all these different records.
25,000.
Whatever it was. I don't remember. It was something.
How about 85?
Whatever it was. They list all his accomplishments, right? They list every single one all the way down. And I quote tweet it, plus 2 of the biggest cheating scandals in NFL history.
Yes.
And I was getting bombarded. You're a hater,
killed, right?
What are you saying? Why are you hating on Tom Brady? I'm not hating on him. Like, do I dislike him because I'm a Raider fan? Of course I do. But it would be disingenuous, which I think is what, to your point, Rob, to just ignore all this stuff. And that's like it never happened. Because it did happen.
And that's my issue.
Is he the GOAT?
That's my issue.
Is he his accomplishments kind of make it so you can't make it.
Is he the GOAT?
No, Rob G's not going there.
Let him go where he wants. Go ahead. You gonna be a man and say your opinion because you clearly want to say yes.
What I've said.
Don't let Rob back you down.
I'm not backing him down, Chris.
Rob is long and lanky. You're a husky. You're like Mike Tyson. All right, you can take him.
Look, I've said to you guys before. I don't think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Like I don't. But when you're talking about the GOAT is always all-encompassing because he has so many Super Bowls and because he has all these records. It's hard to make a case against him. I just think that it's unfair that if you're going to talk about Tom Brady, that you just forget this huge black mark that's on his career.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should forget it.
But
I
Chris,
really don't.
Chris, I'm asking you. Other than Rob Parker, Name one person in the media in the last 72 hours who has mentioned what Tom Brady did during his career.
Here's what I'm going to say.
None. Zero, Rob G.
Look,
zero.
I'm going to be honest. And y'all know I like Tom Brady. I was watching TV today. I'm not going to name the show. I'm not even going to name the network. But I was watching today. And even I got a little bit sick they were throwing flowers upon flowers.
Chris, what did she say?
He's
I'm sorry.
He's that. And I get it. He retired. I believe he's clearly the GOAT. I don't believe he's the best football
but it was over
player
the top.
of all time.
Was it over the top?
Best. Yes. It was just, it was just way too much. Even for me, I was like, this is kind of crazy. My goodness. But, and like I said, Rob, I acknowledge the cheating. Like I said, I don't think he had anything to do with Spygate. I don't think any of the players knew anything about that. And then I don't hold that against him. That's not on him. And then the Deflategate, okay, but I equate that to, like I said, Gaylord Perry, Vaseline on the cap, whatever you want to call it. And he's proven afterwards that deflated ball, regular ball, whatever, the dude is bad.
Chris, I got a question. I know we're up against it, but I got a question for you. Why is it, in your opinion, do you think that when it comes to some of the greatest of all time, whatever sport it is, if they have any kind of blemish on their resume or something you can point to, it's immediately pointed out for everyone except Tom Brady?
Yes.
Like
everyone
when you're
else
talking about
like,
Barry Bonds, it's like, the cream in the clear.
He cheated, right?
And Balco. If it's Floyd Mayweather, it's like, he ducked and dodged these guys in their prime. If it's,
exactly.
I'll tell you with Bonds, and Rob, you know this, it's because Barry Bonds turned into, first of all, his body changed tremendously. His numbers as far as hitting homers was just unreal. And so the change was just so drastic. He was great, but he wasn't like, Babe Ruth before he started taking the stuff, or at least when we think he started taking it. So I think there's that with him. I think, Rob, I'll say this, Rob G. Michael Jordan, does anybody other than like a Nick Wright or somebody who's trying to prove LeBron's the GOAT bring up some of his losses in the playoffs? Now, he never had a meltdown or anything like that.
Yeah,
but he was 1-9.
Yeah, but he doesn't have anything
he doesn't have anything like
Tom Brady.
Right.
Well, but there was the gambling allegations.
Yeah, but
people
he
don't really bring that up.
But he wasn't suspended.
There was a book written, Rob, that's why he retired for a year. I'm just saying, and by Harvey Arrington, a well-known, and Armin Katayan, well-known journalist. So that gets swept under the rug as well. So I just think sometimes that happens with, great players. Kobe, some of the things he went through, nobody brings those up and stuff. So I think that's what it is. All right.